scared you with that clap last time on that video.
It was very loud.
That was so funny.
There's your clap.
Sorry about that. You okay?
It's a little loud there.
My bad.
You're a little loud. You're good? Good times.
Yep. Speaking of good times, Joseph, I wasn't having one when I learned the news.
The news?
The news.
The news. What was the news?
Coronavirus has infected.
I was like, there was no news.
Coronavirus has infected another, and it's the Bond film franchise. Yep.
Rest in peace.
So who was hyped for No Time to Die?
That's a sound off.
That is a rhetorical question.
Yeah, we expect you to respond through the camera.
Yes,
Who
we do.
was hyped for No Time to Die?
Also, this is Jagles J. Welcome back.
This was a weird start.
It was. I'm sorry.
Well,
I just jumped
it's
into
okay.
it.
We're good. We're like Philip DeFranco. We just
Yep.
jump right into it. No Time to Die isn't ready to die yet
No, it's
because
not.
it hasn't even been born yet.
Yeah, it really hasn't.
And it's not going to be born for a while longer.
Yeah, so today, this is the thing we're talking about today specifically. Well, that was a spike. So due to coronavirus, all that outbreak and stuff, today is March 8th, 2020, the day that this episode is being filmed. Bond was supposed to be released. No Time to Die, the newest Bond movie. It is April 8th, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was the 7th. I'm not going to lie. I really legitimately thought
They don't
it was
know
the
that,
7th.
though. They don't know when this was filmed.
But I did.
Okay.
And it actually is the 8th. It's the thing.
It is the 8th. So
I'm fine.
today, March 8th, which is when this episode is being filmed, was supposed to be exactly a month out from No Time to Die coming out on April 8th, 2020. It has now been postponed by about 7.5 months.
It's a long time.
It's very like this movie I don't want to say in a couple of days. The decision came very soon. Well, not very soon, but it came very like out of the blue. There was no. I feel like there was no real media coverage of that talk beforehand. That hey, we might delay our movie because nobody's going to theaters right now, especially over the next month when this movie is supposed to come out because of the virus. And I really do think this movie could potentially lose millions of dollars if it did come out. So I get that, but basically it's been pushed back to November 25th of this year. So it went it seemed like in a matter of like a day, it went from being a spring blockbuster to a holiday blockbuster. Like, that's a long time. Imagine, I think back to Endgame. Endgame came out April 26th, 2019, which is crazy to think that movie's almost been out for a year, which also means that we've almost been on YouTube
our
for
anniversary
a
for
year.
YouTube is coming right up.
Woo. That was a very underwhelming woo. Yeah. But I think back, like, James Bond, big film franchise, but what's the biggest movie of all time? Avengers Endgame. Imagine if this was a thing last year and Marvel was like, sorry, we have to push back Endgame, easily one of the most anticipated movies of all time.
Or if they'd just say, people will risk getting sick. Like, I wouldn't put it past Disney to be like, yeah, no, it's fine. We're just going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's just the thing. That's a comparison. A major movie release pushed back over half a year.
Like, that's the crazy thing to me, is that it's not, oh, we're delaying it to a summer blockbuster or, whatever. This is like coming up into the holiday season blockbuster. They're really waiting
this is
on this.
We went from being, as of today, March 8th, a month away from it releasing, to now the movie is coming out within a month of Christmas. Like, 2020 will be almost over by then. And that's just weird to think how they didn't just push this movie back a couple days, couple months, half a year at least. Actually closer to 8 months instead of 7.
Yeah.
So I get like the decision, but maybe things will change. Maybe the virus will die down a little bit quicker. It'll kind of fizzle out like Ebola did, that whole Ebola outbreak thing going on. Yeah. I know it's still a thing. I'm not going to get into it, but maybe it'll fizzle out like that and they'll go, hey, actually, we can do for like in August, right?
What if we just keep getting different announcements? So
right? Yeah.
Yeah, come on August. No, wait. Maybe September.
4 different premieres of No Time to Die. Yeah. So that's just the crazy thing, right?
One of these times we'll die.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Actually, the title of this episode, No Time to Die, because it's. And again, there was a lot of hype for this movie. I was super excited for this movie, and because I think nobody expected Daniel Craig to come back. The new announcement of there being a new major 00 agent in Lashana Lynch. I was excited to see her. More of Christoph Waltz's Blofeld. More of Lea Seydoux.
I'm really excited for Rami Malek. Personally, I totally butchered that name, but
no. I think you actually said it right.
Maybe
Rami Malek,
maybe
but
yeah. I love his acting, so I'm really excited for him.
So all of this now we have to wait another 7 months to see it, and like it really is like it actually like it hurt a little. Like I was just like, what?
Pain.
I mean, like I get it, but I think
good men cruel.
Some men just would have watched the world, but is that what you were quoting?
Something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All those push-ups and you can't lift a bloody log.
Come on, Mr. Bond. That's the crossover we needed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Alfred was Bond.
Alfred as M though.
I mean, he is Royal Air Force in the canon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Secret Service-ish stuff.
Mr. Bond. Money penny. Men are talking. That's a line. That's a thing. Yeah.
That's a thing.
Added with a slap on the butt.
Yep. Those were different times and not necessarily better times.
We've moved past that very much so. But aside from all that, I think this is to say I think this is the most major reaction that the movie industry has had to an illness.
Yeah, no, in recent history, I'm sure there's been something, but like I can't think of any other thing on this scale. And what I'm curious is less like one movie getting delayed, even a big movie like No Time to Die, which again I just think is so ironically named for something that's pushing back because of a sickness. But is if we're gonna get any other delays.
I've heard that Onward,
big delays.
I've heard that Onward, Disney Pixar's newest movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that's possibly getting delayed, as well as I think there's a couple others they're looking at because I'm
crazy.
I heard because in the same article I read about Bond getting delayed, I read that Onward possibly will get delayed. So, it's crazy. We really have not seen this before. Even when the Ebola outbreak was going on, no major movies were delayed. Yeah. Maybe some were, and we just didn't catch it.
Right.
But I don't remember a major franchise going. And again, I get it. It makes sense because this movie is expected to break the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
As these Daniel Craig Bonds have, all done very well, very successful Bond movies. You know.
No, I just double checked, and Onward was rumored to be delayed, but it actually, I thought it came out, and it came out like last week.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, I thought a friend saw that.
And so that's the thing. That's interesting. That's Disney,
right?
Bond has nothing to do with Disney. So why was Bond pushed back? And honestly, I don't. And again, I know it's because of the virus and what it says in the actual post on 007's page. James Bond doesn't actually have a page, just 007 for the movies.
That's what you think.
Yeah,
that is what you think.
Each new Bond gets to be an admin of the page for their tenure as Bond.
It's just like a group.
Yeah.
Group chat of just Bonds. Oh, man.
Roger Moore has left the chat because he's dead. Sorry, that was tasteless. I love Roger Moore.
To be fair, Bond was a little tasteless in that time period too.
That's true. Even though for some reason love the Roger Moore Bonds. But anyway, it's weird because again, you think like it's Disney, man. Disney likes their money.
Because other studios haven't said that yet. I'm very curious if anybody takes cue Not the leader Q.
Yeah.
Nobody takes Q. I don't think that they kidnap Q in this movie. But
yeah, no, as
it takes a Q from this movie and delays, or if the other movies are just going to say, "Hey, more room," and hope to take some of their box office money.
Yeah, because I think that was also a thing. I definitely think Bond, No Time to Die, still is. Time will tell, the most anticipated movie of this year.
There's not a lot happening, so I could definitely see
there's really not. It's a slow year for movies. 2019 was probably the biggest year for movies I can remember in a long time, and 2020 is going to kind of be slow. We're coming off of the culmination of the Skywalker saga and the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, Disney was big last year.
Yeah, so there's going to be some downtime in 2020.
Even beyond Disney, 2019 had the rise of A24 films with all these like what some people would call pretentious. I just call good.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had movies like Joker and like Parasite and Jojo Rabbit and like Marriage Story. Like,
so many
movies were amazing last year. There's a reason I actually watched the Oscars this year.
Right.
There's a reason.
Right.
Because so many good movies, so many good performances. Never saw it. Irishman was like there, and this year is kind of a down year for movies. But that's like James Bond, No Time to Die. That's why it was so hyped up. Not just because there weren't any other big movies coming around, but it's the 5th installment of Daniel Craig's James Bond franchise, which has probably become the most popular, most mainstream James Bond film series. His movies, starting with Casino Royale back in 2006, all the way to this year, 14 years later, he's still James Bond.
Yeah.
Very good James Bond.
Oh, yeah.
James Bond that has taken, that many even Connery snobs have looked at him and gone, wow. Like, I feel like he's really
definitely taken him a whole different level.
He has. And I don't want to say that this is going to kill the hype. But
that was going to be my question to you, though, do you think this do you think this would affect box office total versus coming out now or coming out now with no coronavirus?
So I don't think the box office numbers are going to be hurt. It is a James Bond movie. It's Daniel Craig's final installation unless they give him more money in 5 years. So in 2025, if Daniel Craig is still around at the age of almost 60, yeah, well, that'll be a shock. But I don't think it's going to hurt the numbers. I do think it hurts the momentum. Because we were a month away as of today from a huge box office release. It's not just another kind of indie movie. This is James freaking Bond, which is now an almost 60-year-old film franchise that has had dynamite actors for each and every Bond.
Right.
I mean, when you replace Pierce Brosnan, and Pierce Brosnan has replaced Timothy Dalton, and Timothy Dalton replaced Roger Moore, and Roger Moore replaced Sean Connery, and Sean Connery, I think, at some point replaced himself and George Lazenby at the same time.
So Lazenby got in there too.
Don't leave out George. But like, it's not just another movie series. This is James Bond we're talking about, and that is major.
It is also indicative of its own.
You okay?
Yeah, a little.
It is. Yes, man. Anyway, sorry.
It's indicative of the generations of film too.
Yeah.
And so I think it'll be very interesting to see if the delay affects people's perception. I don't think it will, but I would be very curious if people see the delay in any sort of negative light, because mostly people are like, okay, it makes sense. But if you think about it, they're really the only big film, I should say, that seems to be worried about it enough to delay. And so I'm curious if what made that decision. Because the thing is, a Disney film like Pixar, a lot of their Pixar films, I think the audience is still mainly domestic. I'm curious if it's in part because if Bond has a more international audience than we realize,
and
or something.
And the coronavirus is big in Europe right now.
Exactly.
It's bigger
I think
in
that's
Europe
a
than it
large.
is here. I think that is too.
I think it's a large part of it is that he's a British protagonist.
That's a very good point.
The European side is hit much harder than we are.
That's a good point. Didn't think of that, dude. Yeah. Honestly, good point. I really did not think of that. And while the coronavirus is in America, obviously, bigger in Europe.
Yeah,
started overseas, did not start here. It spread here, but again, it's affected overseas a lot more. A lot more people have died, unfortunately, overseas due to this virus. So, as I said, like I look at myself as a Bond fan, and I'm not judging everybody else based on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty big Bond fan, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
But I just like when I'm thinking about it earlier before we did this, thinking to myself, my hype for it is still there. I still cannot wait to see it, regardless of if it comes out, in April, which it's not, during sometime in the summer or late in the year, like November 25th, like it's scheduled now. I'm still going to go see that movie. I am still going to be hyped to see another Daniel Craig James Bond movie that looks as good as this one. I'd say the best looking Bond film.
It looks, I'm very excited.
Next to Skyfall, I think this is one that just like so far from trailers, from images, it looks like in a non-weird way, delicious. Like,
and well, the thing that interests me is how it seems to be going back to a very classic,
sorry, I'm checking the battery life on our camera there. Hey, getting real up close with you.
Yeah, you know. But it goes back to that very classic Bond styling. A lot of like the type has gone back to that. The title is very classic, like you said. There's a lot of things that makes me interested in what the cinematography and the actual play out of it will be like, if they're going to try and bring some of that older style back to it, or if that's more just a aesthetic thing that gets passed over.
And it's not a Sam Mendes film. I love Sam Mendes, but this looks more like they still kind of kept that Sam Mendes style that we saw in Skyfall and in Spectre.
Mm-hmm.
So it has that feel. It has this like it's weird. You can't really describe it, but Bond movies have a feel. They have a look to them. They have a flavor.
Yeah.
And this one has kept it and enhanced it, I think. And so I am still very excited for this movie.
Mm.
However, the momentum I had building up, because like again earlier this week, I think maybe about 4 or 5 days ago now, we learned that this movie was going to be canceled. I say canceled, postponed until November 25th.
Got post-maloned.
Got posterized. But I think the momentum for it is very much downshifted now, because again, you're a month away from a major box office release, and then you hear that it's going to be pushed back by another half a year.
Yeah.
Which it's almost like we're now back at the part where they were in the beginning of post-production late last year, into the latter parts of last year. Like we started to see stuff for No Time to Die back in like October. Mm-hmm. And it almost feels like we've reverted back to that now, because we have to wait. We are now another 7.5 months away from this movie. So I think the momentum is hurting it. I don't think monetarily it's going to suffer. I think it's still going to attract an audience, and maybe even that audience will be... There's a difference between momentum and excitement.
Yes.
I think the excitement level is still going to be there. I think it's going to kill. I think it's going to do very well. I have high hopes for this movie, and I don't think it's going to disappoint. But the momentum, I feel like it was just kind of, we were like full speed ahead, but we didn't want to run that yellow light, and we hit the brakes.
Hit the brake.
And the car skidded, and now we're having to wait at the light for a long time. And that's how this kind of feels. So, again, don't know if it'll hurt the movie in the box office and in the reviews. Obviously not the reviews, but definitely the momentum has shifted. And now it is another anticipatory waiting game. And it's going to be a quiet summer for movies, I have a feeling.
Yes,
so... Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, or is that about wrap it up for you?
No, that about wraps it up for me. Did you what were your thoughts? Those are my thoughts on like the momentum shift of this movie and what coronavirus has kind of done to the box office and the movie market this summer. I mean, like, do you have any thoughts on that? Do you agree with me when I say that the excitement is there, but the momentum has really down?
I do. Yeah. And I think that what's going to be interesting to me is going to be seeing, again, my biggest thing is what other movies decide to do, which partially depends on how the coronavirus keeps affecting things.
Yeah.
But also how other movies do, and also how this affects our timing of movies, because it's a slow year. Yeah. I'm not sure. I would have to double check, and I don't think everything's been announced. But like, what is it competing with now? because like that's a whole other lineup for them. So that's my biggest that's my biggest questions. Yeah, I was gonna say I knew that there's some Marvel stuff that's happening eventually.
I think the Eternals, which we've still seen nothing about,
right?
Other than Nanjani, I think that's his last name, other than his chiseled body, which looks great. Dude got in some stellar shape for his role. But yeah,
because that's going to be the biggest change, I think. Because at the end of the day, this is a Bond movie, and it's the final Daniel Craig one. The question is going to be, what is it up against, and what was it up against?
Because that might actually affect the box office.
That's where the effect comes in.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. It has a whole new round of films going up against, and a lot of films that are trying to reel in an Oscar late in the year. We saw, honestly, 2020 was such a great year in its closing months because of movies like The Joker, Parasite, right? Jojo Rabbit, like all of these movies, August to December, that time frame, like they all kind of came out, I think, later than June.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's interesting.
It'll be very curious to see, and that's kind of where I'm at, and just hoping and praying that much broader than the movie industry, but since we're focused in on that, that it doesn't continue to delay things, that we're able to safely go out and watch cinema again wherever you live.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And don't be also my closing thoughts just on the coronavirus. Don't be afraid to live. Have fun. Do stuff. Go to restaurants. We ate at the Carolina Ale House today, and I think we're fine, right? Like,
sorry,
I didn't like this couch anyway. I think that literally I said that in the comments to your comment on our video. So our Lord
no, you didn't like the mic either. That's what it was.
Oh, the mic. I was like, I didn't like the mic anyway.
I didn't like my room. My entire office space.
Well, it's about time I was going to move out anyway. But yeah, so don't be afraid to go do stuff. Just be healthy, be clean, and don't be stupid. So, but
good general rule of thumb.
Yeah, honestly, for even when there's not like a bad bug going around. So, let's still be hyped up for No Time to Die coming out,
because we've got plenty of time.
We have plenty of time for No Time to Die, but there's no time for No Time to Die because it's been delayed until November. No Time to Die.
That doesn't work.
No time to die. Yeah.
November.
Speaking to my own reflection. I don't know why I just said that. Anyway, that's a quote from Rami Malek in a movie somewhere.
It's okay.
But yeah, so thanks for watching. Check out our other episodes. We have an episode where we talk about the Lord of the Rings TV show with Amazon Prime. That's a good one. We're really anticipating that as well, unless coronavirus does a number on that one as well. Hopefully not.
Yep.
But other than that,
check it out. Go check out our social. We got Instagram, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Batman episode that we did about 2 or 3 weeks ago now, where we were talking about Robert Pattinson. There's been some things come out on some leaks of the new Batmobile.
I love some beautiful pictures. Already my favorite outline for Batman. Like legitimately, that cowl was amazing. But yeah, like I already mentioned Instagram.
Yeah.
What is the thing? Like and subscribe.
Yeah, ring the
bell. Ring my bell. My bell. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. He picked up what I was throwing away.
She was putting trash and said,
picked up what I was
that
littering.
goes in the recycling bin, son.
But yeah, no, go check us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about, a game you want us to play or whatnot. We got some good stuff coming your way, though. I can tell you that.
I'll see you then.
Peace.